Good morning, bonjour, ni hao, bienvenue, and welcome to another episode of The Gem Hunter. My name is Barry Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And each week, what I like to do is take you on a journey, on an adventure into the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry. I use gemstones as a template, as an inception point, because I see, after doing this business for 17 years, I see a relationship between gemstones and people. So the purpose of my show is to use gemstones as a way to get people to discover the value of their own stories. Today is the end of a journey that we've been on for the last few weeks, where we were discussing the four C's of diamond grading: cut, color, clarity, and now carat weight. The four C's are what's called value factors. That's how appraisers like myself, that's what we do to look at a diamond. And really, any gemstone, each one has different ones. Pearls have 9 value factors, but diamonds have 4. And we look at those factors as a way to establish what is the value of that gemstone. So today we're at the end, and we're going to be talking about carat. And what carat means. Let's just get right down to it. What carat means is weight. That's all it means. It means weight. And somehow carat has taken on this mystical quality. When you are appraising gemstones, and if you notice that when they list the 4 C's, they always list carat last. It's cut, color, clarity, then carat. Because carat plays such a small part in the whole ambiance of what a diamond is. People make it so. I've been doing this for a while, like I said, 17 years, and I cannot tell you how many times that I've heard someone say to me, the first question they say is, how big is it? How many carats was it? As if carats have some mystical, magical way of making the gemstone better. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you from the very beginning, honestly, carat plays a small part. Size does not really matter in terms of gemstones. Now, ladies, before you even get started, I am not here to tell you that you do not deserve the biggest diamond that you can possibly, that your man or your partner has bestowed upon you. That's not what this conversation is. So you think I'm going that way? Stop. That's not. Okay. My question is, when I look at, what I want you to understand is, when I look at a diamond from an appraiser point of view, the first thing that I'm looking at is not carat. The first thing I'm looking at is cut. How does it all come together? Cut is like listening to music, like listening to Mozart. You just sit back and take it all in. That's what cut is. Cut is, remember I told you, cut is the way a diamond interacts with the light. Then I'm looking at the color. What is the color? Not as just what is the surface color, but how does that diamond translates the wavelengths, the light that's going through it? How does it translate into something beautiful? Diamonds are a prism. They're mirrors, and basically what a diamond, depending on the cut, depending on the shape, depending on the symmetry, all those things come together. So when the light comes through the diamond, then you see an explosion of color. Then I'm looking at clarity. Clarity is the absence of inclusions or blemishes. So when I look at a diamond, I'm not looking at an inclusion or blemish as something wrong. I'm looking at it as that's how it grew up. That's how it developed over years and millions, billions of years. That's all the things that had to come together. And whether or not my decision as an appraiser, as someone who decides the value of something, of a diamond, I have to decide whether or not those inclusions, those blemishes, external and internal, how does that fit into the symphony of that diamond? How does it fit into that? So I have no problems. On Facebook, I put 5 breathtakingly beautiful women. Elizabeth Taylor, who is the master. I mean, when you understand her story in relationship to jewelry, yeah, Elizabeth Taylor, all hail. Okay. Elizabeth Taylor, J-Lo, Paris Hilton, Mariah Carey, Halle Berry, and Kim Kardashian. 5 breathtakingly beautiful women spanning just array of different colors. They are fancy colors, especially in the case of Halle Berry. And what gets me about carat, when people talk about carat, it's like all they talk about, excuse me, is the size of J-Lo's diamonds or the size of the diamond that Kim Kardashian received from Kanye or Paris Hilton. And my question is, the same time, energy, effort that man put into buying that diamond. Paris Hilton dated a man that he knew her for 3 months before he presented her with this 24 carat diamond. 24 carat diamond that cost $5 million. He literally let her sit down in front of some of the best diamantaires, a jeweler, a diamond cutter, a diamantaire. He sat there and let her decide which one. He had 15 of them, and she decided on that ring. And my question is, how is it that you took that kind of time to do that? You gave it to her after only knowing her for 3 months. You gave it to her, and the engagement only lasted, not the marriage, the engagement only lasts for 8 months. How does that make sense? So my question is, what about the romance? See, I have to be honest with you and transparent with you. I am a hopeless romantic. I am. I grew up that way. I can't help it. My earliest memory of what it means to be a man actually came from my grandmother. I was 6. We were walking down, I'm from New York originally. We was walking down Broadway, and I was walking on the inside, and my grandmother stopped and she said, "No, Barry, you have to walk on the outside." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Just in case a yellow cab jumps the curb, it should hit you before it hits me." Now, remember, I'm 6. So I'm looking at the size of the yellow cab, and I'm talking about those of you who are from New York or have seen those old New York. I'm talking about the big yellow checkered cabs that, seat 7 in the back and still has space for 2 in the front. Those. I'm 6 years old, and what you're telling me is that I should let something that big hit me first before it hits you. So, of course, I'm 6 years old. I didn't have all those thinking. I didn't say WTF to my grandmother, but I remember looking at her like, "What are you talking about? Why?" And she said, "Because you're a man. That's what you're supposed to do when you're a gentleman." And that is emblazoned in my head. People who know me, any woman who knows me knows that if I'm walking down the street with you, maybe in the beginning I won't stop, but there's something will stop me and I'll walk on the outside, because that's what romance is. See, I watched too many old movies when I was a kid. See, to me, if you're going to give, when you fall in love with the one, that should be a woman that you have no problems fighting a dragon for. See, I grew up where men went out there, and if I fell in love with a woman, with the queen, with my princess, I should go out there, fight a battle, and come back with cities named after her: Barberville, Barbara Town, Barbara Metropolis, Barbara. Because if that is the one, that's what it means. Whatever to happen to romance? Whatever happened to, I remember when I was a kid and getting kissed on the cheek by the girl that I thought was just, oh my God. And I didn't even want to wash off my face because I just wanted to remind myself of just that moment when I kissed her. Whatever happened to romance? See, I have no problems with Forrest Gump giving Jenny a 24 karat diamond ring. You know why? Because Forrest Gump loved Jenny. Forrest Gump is one of the most romantic movies in the world. Forrest Gump loved Jenny. From the moment he saw her on the bus, from the moment she allowed him, she was the only one that allowed him to sit next to her. He loved Jenny. He loved Jenny even once they grew up a little bit and then they separated. He went to Vietnam and she got into the whole drug hippie thing and they met up again. And of course, Jenny was kind of messed up at that point, and she told Forrest, "Why do you love me?" And Forrest looked at her and just said, "Because you're my girl." He said it like the sun rises in the east. That is romance. I don't understand how a man buys Mariah Carey a $10 million ring. And again, I don't have problems with the money. My thing is, you spend $10 million on a ring and you never even made it to the altar. You never even made it to the altar. I don't understand that. That's my confusion with Carrie, because if size really mattered, then I shouldn't be talking about 5 women that had 18 marriages between them, at least 10 engagements, and yet none of them are in a stable relationship. None of them. Remember that scene in Forrest Gump when they had got back together again and Jenny was dying? She was on her deathbed. And we knew she was dying from AIDS, but at that point they didn't know it was AIDS. So she was dying from something. And remember when she looked at Forrest and said, "Were you afraid in Vietnam?" And Forrest said, "Yeah, well, when it stopped raining long enough and then the stars came out, it was kind of nice." He started describing to her what it meant when he was running, when he was on the bayou, when the sun was coming down and all the millions of stars was on the water. He told her how he was running down a mountain. He saw a mountain lake where you couldn't tell. It looked like 2 skies on top of each other. He described to her that when he was running in the forest, running down the desert in the morning and the sun was coming up, that he couldn't tell where heaven began and where the earth ended. And he was caught up in the memory of his adventures, of his life. And Jenny looked at him and said, "I wish I could have been there with you." And he stopped. He stopped and looked her in her eye and said, "You were." That's love. That's romance. And call me a hopeless romantic, I do not care. Because that is what it means to love the one. So if a diamond is the representation of your love, let's back up. A diamond, this diamond is at least 203 carats. This diamond, because of the size, has got to be at least 1 billion years old. It took decades for the companies to find that diamond. Then that diamond, first it had to form 90 to 125 miles in the ground, 70,000 pounds per square inch pressure, 3,600 degrees. It had to come up like a volcano. Millions of years, 1 billion years had to pass before that diamond is found. Then once that diamond was found, it had to be dug up. Think about the thousands of man hours that it took to find that diamond. And then it took, once they found the rough, it took a diamantaire, a diamond cutter, weeks, months, sometimes years to just decide what cut, what symmetry, what proportion, what faceting, how would they best maximize the color, the way it interacts with the light. That's what you see when you see that 203 carat diamond. That's what J-Lo has on her hand. That's what Elizabeth Taylor had. So if you're going to give that type of, if that diamond is the representation of your love, then you should not give a woman, anybody, a diamond, a gemstone of that quality, and yet you don't even take the time to know who she is. Diamonds are not forever. What diamonds are is when you love someone that much, that is forever. That is your forever. That diamond was there millions of years before you, will be here millions of years afterwards. The forever that you are getting down on one knee and presenting to that woman, you are telling that woman, you're looking at the woman and saying that I love you. I want to be with you. You are the fever from which I shall never recover. And this diamond is a representation of that. Because a diamond is romance. The diamond is a romance of molecular atoms coming together. As I told you many episodes before, diamonds are not rare. Diamonds are everywhere, just like women. Women are not rare. Women are everywhere, but the one for you is rare. The one for you, when you look at that one, that woman when you look at that woman, you're looking at the cut. You're looking at the interaction between her and the light. When you look at her color, you're looking at the way the light is interacting with who she is. And it doesn't have to be chocolate diamonds. It could be colorless diamonds. It could be yellow diamonds. It could be all. So that woman, that what you're looking at is the manifestation of color of who she is. When you're looking at a woman that is the one, you understand that because of the time that it took to develop who she is, all the trials and the tribulations, the growing up, the finding herself, the education, brothers, sisters, mother, father, all those things had to come together to make the woman that you call the one. So when Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor was married 9 times. 9 times. Her third husband gave her a 29.4 carat diamond. And I'm not going to say anything about him because unfortunately he died. So we don't know what would have happened. But her fifth husband was Richard Burton. Richard Burton gave Elizabeth Taylor, not to be outdone by the third husband, he gave her a 33 carat diamond. A 33 carat diamond. Then they got together, got married, got divorced within a year. Then he came back and married her again. And I remember it. I was a little kid, but I remember how everybody was talking about Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. They were like the Kanye and Kim back in those days. And then he came back and gave her a 69.42 carat pear-shaped diamond that is called the Taylor Burton diamond. That is how magnificent this diamond is. And yet the relationship, the marriage lasted a couple of years. What happened to the romance? He knew more about that diamond than he knew about the woman that he supposedly loved. So he was her fifth and sixth husband, and then she went on to three more. How is Paris Hilton? How do you meet a woman? How do you meet anybody in 3 months? Give them a $5 million ring, and then the relationship is over in 8 months. I've taken college classes that lasted longer than 8 months. That's all I'm saying. What happened to the romance? Remember the last scene in Forrest Gump when he's standing on her grave? He's standing on her grave and he's telling her she is no longer with her. He has loved her for his entire life. And even standing on her grave, he looks at the grave and says to her, if there's anything you ever need, I won't be too far away. That's love. So the only thing I'm saying is if diamonds are going to be a representation of love, if a gemstone is going to be a representation of your love, Halle Berry got a engagement ring that was a diamond and an emerald engagement ring, 4 carats. Now, 4 carats, of course, is rare and unique for a diamond, but a 4-carat emerald is extremely rare because emeralds don't come in large sizes like that. And to have an emerald with very few inclusions is even more rare. So she has a diamond and emerald ring, engagement ring. And in that, which by itself is like $200,000. But there was something, and I haven't done all the research on it, but there was something about their ring that had the Phoenician codes engraved in it. Phoenician codes. I'm talking about like Greek times, ancient Greek Phoenician codes that's built into the ring that makes that ring priceless, and yet she is no longer married to that man. That's because there was no romance. See, size, carat means size. It means weight. It means 200 milligrams. That's all it means. 200 milligrams. Some of you have taken aspirin this morning that had more milligrams than what carat means. It's just that carat is a much more sexier term. You don't want to say, girl, how many pounds, how many ounces you got on your finger? No, you say carat. Carat is an ancient word. Carat came from the word carob. And the seeds of a carob is pretty consistent. It's 200 milligrams. It's 0.2 grams. That's all size means. And those of you who had the opportunity to love a woman, and women already understand size doesn't really matter. If that man loves you, size doesn't really matter. I've had the opportunity to be in love and be married 2.5 times. And what I remember about each one of those marriages, that I loved her. It didn't work out. but I loved her. I did everything I could do in my mind to love her, to understand her, to care of her. That's what it means. And I'm not saying it doesn't work out. I'm just saying the same energy, the same passion, the cut, the clarity. Clarity in a relationship means transparency. Can you trust that person? When you give that person your light, your energy, does it flow through her, and does it, like a diamond, come back out maximum performance? That's what it means. It's a relationship between your eyes and the gemstone, between her eyes and you. Whatever happened to the romance? So if you're going to look at a diamond, if you're going to, this is engagement season. People get married, especially after the pandemic. People get married. When you get down, gentlemen, and I'm talking to the guys that's out there, gentlemen, when you make the decision to love that woman, to decide that you want that woman to be the one for you, take a moment, take some time to discover who she is. What is her cut? How does she interact with the light? What is her color? You should know the colors, that not only is the color she is, but the colors that she wears, the colors that manifest her to another level. Does she have the clarity that you need and that what she needs? Do you understand her blemishes? Do you understand her inclusions? Do you understand what made her who she is today? That diamond that you love. This woman is breathtaking, breathtakingly beautiful to me. And that diamond is equally breathtaking. But guess what? I don't know anything about her. So is she beautiful enough to get a 203 carat diamond? Yes. But does that, me giving her that diamond, does that manifest into a relationship that will last forever? I don't know. Until I understand her 4Cs, who she is. What makes her the beautiful diamond, the beautiful gemstone. So, I hope you enjoyed this journey. My name is Barry Mixon. I am a gemological storyteller. And what I want you to do is take time this week to look at your life, to look at the person that you love, to look at the ring on your finger and remember the way you received it. Take time in your life to discover the value of your own story. So until we meet again, au revoir.
I'm hanging on your every word, the love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me. I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground. My feet won't touch the ground.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Yes. This is the Diamond Factor Experience Show, and we just heard from Mr. Okay, I got a new nickname from Mr. Berry now, Mr. Romance. So he has put down the gauntlet, as I call it. He has dropped the mic on every man and woman, because it goes both. It takes 2 to tango here. So I'm like, OMG. See, you know what? I had a standard. Now I have a higher standard than that. So yes, when it comes to that, I just want to say that what he was talking about is so important. See, I don't know, days, age, it seems like we're just rushing into stuff, especially when it comes to relationships. I mean, we just, I gotta get married, or I gotta get that person, or she looks nice, she looks fine, I gotta marry her. And then I'm like, okay, what is the color of her eyes? What is her favorite color? What does she like to eat? What is the one food that she would just go ballistic over, and you know exactly what that food is? See, that's the kind of stuff that people don't get into, because you know why? I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm going to leave because we got to bring on the queen, Laura. But I'm going to tell you why. Because we don't take the time. We get what they call the L word. Sad to say. Lazy. No one wants to take that time to get to know a person and see what they're about, and see when they smile a certain way, when they look at a certain show and it makes them happy, or they look at something, maybe a certain song they hear and they love that song. Most of the time, I was thinking the other day, I said some of the guys that I dated, they didn't know if I liked the jazz, country, or rock. And I like all. But they didn't know that, because they didn't take the time to sit there and say, okay, what does Barbara like? What kind of music does she love? If I take her on a carriage ride, what kind of music one will be playing? Because I know she likes that particular song. So yes, it takes work. But you know what is so, why even look at it as work if love is there? Because if the love is there, you don't think about the work. You don't. Because you love that person and you care about them so much, so deeply, that it's just like, you want me to sit there and slay a dragon like Barry said? I'll go out and slay a dragon, I don't care, and I'll bring you some pizza afterwards. See, you see what I'm saying? And there's no issues, no nothing, because they love that person. So love, and romance. And we don't want to say it's dead. I don't believe that romance is dead right now. I believe there's still men and women out there that are doing that. So let's remember, it takes the work, but the work doesn't matter when you love somebody. So that is my little take on that. Now we are going to go into our second section of the show, which is Mrs. Yes, I always bring queens of royalty in the house here, and we do have a queen every Wednesday. If you haven't been watching her, I don't know what you're doing, and I don't know what you're looking at, and your head must be in the sand. You need to be sitting here on the Diamond Factor Experience Show looking at Laura Armstrong, because guess what? She is talking about something that's very important that takes some work too. It doesn't have to, because she's telling you like that secret sauce about personalities and understanding raising your IQ with individuals and relationships and building those and understanding who you're talking to and how to talk to them and how they should talk to you. So we're going to bring her on right now. I always listen to Laura. She makes things so plain and simple. And then I'm like, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, maybe I should be saying it like that. So here she comes, Miss Laura.
Good morning, everybody, and it's great to be here again today. I'm excited about today's show because I'm excited about every show. But today we are going to start covering the 6 intelligences. Let me just explain a little bit about that. So last week I introduced you to what is called our iOS coaching program for Bank. Bank is a personality coding methodology, okay, that will actually get you to speak to a person's values and train you how to do that. So not only is your message being heard in the language that you're speaking to with the person you're speaking to, but you're also getting the right message across and feeling like the communication is a two-way street. So in the last 6 weeks, I've covered all 4 personality type codes. I'll just review each of those quickly today because the first intelligence we're going to talk about is personality intelligence. Okay. And I really feel like the way these pods are structured, they're going to build on each other. So you really want to see where some holes in what you're doing are in your business, in your life, in your leadership. And this is going to help you to shore those up so that not only can you have more influence, but have deeper, richer relationships and have that show up in your bottom line, because we all want more money, because we all want to help more people, right? It's just the way it is. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about personality intelligence. And so I'm going to review the 4 codes that we had. So BANK is an acronym for the 4 personality types: the blueprint, the action, the nurturer, and the knowledge. And each of those has a very, very different set of values. So you want to be speaking to them very differently and acting differently around them. So let's get into it, right? So first, the blueprint, someone who loves processes and systems, organization. They love to feel like they've got a plan, and they have predictability in what they do. They don't like anything that's risky, so no risk adverse. And the more guarantees you have around things, the more they're interested. So you want to talk to them like, first of all, having a plan about things. Like my husband's a blueprint. Like if we go to do something, he does not like surprises, right? He likes to know what the schedule and agenda is. That makes me nuts because it's the opposite of me. So for him, I make sure that I'm speaking in his code, okay? The second one is the action. Action is my first code. So the actions love excitement, opportunity. They're movers, they're shakers, they're millionaire makers. They act like they drank Red Bull for breakfast, and they love opportunities. A huge number of entrepreneurs are action personality types first. Actors, speakers, people who love to be noticed and seen. Okay. When you're interacting with them, make sure you compliment them on their clothes, the way that they look, because they put that look together so that you would notice it. Okay. So today I wore my white shirt with my collar because I know that you're going to notice that, right? It's not a narcissistic thing. It's just the values that are important to them. Okay. Don't forget, you guys, you are all 4 codes. So you are not just the first code. That is just more of your primary traits. Okay. So you are a little bit of each. Okay. So next is the nurturer. You see that yellow card? What does yellow represent? The sun, kindness, gentleness, relationships, authenticity, connecting with others, feeling like you're a part of a community. These are all really important values to the nurturer personality type. They love to be involved in things, and and do teamwork. They have high morals and ethics, and love to feel like they're included around the campfire, right? Like it's really important to them to feel like they're a part of something. And whatever they do in their business, or anything like that, it has to make a difference. It can't just be about money. And when you're talking to the nurturers, they will spend money, but their currency is not necessarily in dollars. Their currency is in people. So if you want a huge referral base, you want to connect up with a lot of nurturers. They're going to help you to get where you want to be. And they do it out of the kindness of their heart. Okay. So just be thinking about that. Okay. And the last one is the knowledge, our green card, right? So the knowledge values, they love learning and science. They're very intelligent. They're some of the smartest people that I know. They're very logical in their thinking. And they need all the information to make a decision. So a lot of the time they're in analysis paralysis because they just don't have enough information. These would be the people that ask you a ton of questions and will drive you crazy. But what you have to understand is they're not trying to drive you crazy. They're just trying to get enough information to make a decision. So you need to be giving them all the information they need, asking them if they have any other questions, asking them if they have enough information, and book time with them. How long do you need to look at this stuff, right? I have one person I deal with. She's an insurance broker. K is her first code, knowledge. And we have booked an appointment from February to mid-April because that's the time she needed, because she had all these other things she had to complete before we could have a conversation. And I know she's going to show up for that appointment. Okay. So really it's not about you. And when you're learning to speak with personality intelligence, you really want to get out of your head, right? So, but first I want to talk about you. What is your code? So have you, any of the traits that I've talked about, have you thought about what your primary code is, what your secondary code is? Remember, your third code is where you go to in stress. Okay, so what is your behavior like when you go into stress? What personality type do you become more prevalent? Because it's different than your regular code, I can tell you that. And lastly, what are you the least of? What do you like to do the least? For me, I'm least like a blueprint. So systems and processes are not my thing. I do them because I have to, but it's not what drives me, okay? So when you're thinking about personality intelligence, I really want you to think about strategies that you can implement right away when talking to people whose codes you recognize. And that means you're going to be listening actively, okay? And learning and understanding their behavior. People will actually give you the clues to their code. You just have to listen. They'll say, that's a really good process that you've got going on there. Right away, they're giving you that they're a blueprint, right? So what you need to find out first is about you. What's your reality? What's your code? So if you could take the B, A, N, and K, the personality codes, and put them in order of what represents you, what would that look like? Okay. So personality intelligence helps you understand and communicate more effectively with each of the 4 bank personality types, whether it's in sales, in your business, in your leadership, in your personal life, with your friends or your family. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. So whether it's in relationships or on a business side, you're still communicating with people in the 4 personality codes. It's applicable to every area of your life. Okay. So to increase your personality intelligence score, which means that you're starting to look at people in code. Guess, game my husband and I play is when we're watching TV, we guess the codes of what the characters are in the shows. When we interact with somebody on the phone, or we have a conversation with somebody, we code our friends. So it's when you start to think about when you're looking at people in code, like what is their code, then you start to kick in about what their values are. So you start to speak their values because you know that that's going to be a better conversation, not just for you, but for them. And the relationship is going to get better. Right? So personality intelligence means that you're using those 4 codes and recognizing them all over the place, no matter what you do. Okay. So to increase your personality intelligence, you need to know your own bank code. So what is that? That's where you want to look first. Okay. Because once you know what your own bank code is, you're going to know what your strengths are and your weaknesses, like which codes you need to work on when you're speaking to people, and which are uncomfortable with for you, and which you're really good at. Because I can tell you that you're going to connect with the people who are the same primary code as you the easiest. It's like breathing, right? It's like you both speak English. It's just going to happen naturally because that is the code that you resonate with the most. Okay. So when that happens, know that you guys probably have similar traits. Okay. And then, start looking a little deeper, finding out what they don't like to do, So for instance, an action nurturer, which is my first two codes, I love money and I love helping people. So I don't do anything that makes me a lot of money that doesn't help people. Okay, that's what I live by. But someone who is an AK, so an action knowledge, they would need to be able to train or learn or feel like they're the expert in their field before they'll go out and make a lot of money, not funny, funny money. So an AK, an action knowledge, wants to make a lot of money, but they have to be the expert in their field, and they have to make sure that what they're doing has a project around it and that it makes sense. Okay. And that they're going to be learning something and they're going to be seen as the expert in the field. So you can see they're two very different mindsets and types of people in those personality codes. Okay. So there are a variety of, so you want to become really proficient at revealing others' bank codes. And, I use the bank cards, not so much now because I'm not seeing people in person, but, there's a digital one as well that we can send out a link to people so they can crack their codes. But I always try to guess it before they crack their codes. And then when I see them crack their codes, I'm usually pretty good. I mean, to become a master, it's something you have to do it 10,000 times, right? And as a 3-time world champion martial artist, I can tell you, I would have these moments of training where it would be like once every couple of years, I would do the perfect technique, right? And you would just strive for that, right? But that moment where the universe and you and your body and your partner's body and whatever you were doing connected, and it was absolutely perfect. And you recognize that and you're like, I want more of that. And then you go to do it again and you're back to the same learning. Right. So I feel like sometimes we get a peek at those perfections. Right. And I think that the more we practice this, the more we're going to have those peaks. This can actually change how you interact with other humans. Okay. So there are different approaches that you can take to learning personality intelligence. You want to first crack their code, then you want to be speaking their code. Okay, so those are the two key things that you want to be doing, right? So we use the bank cards, like I told you. Okay, so this is a lot of these. I have these in my wallet. I have them all over my house. It's like I have a bank card house, right? So I have them accessible to me because I'm pulling them out, looking at them all the time. And I'm getting people to crack their codes, right? So if you like these and you're interested, let me know. I can get you some, no problem. But these are really a great tool that I use all the time that I didn't think I would, and it just was really surprising to me. So the first way is with our bank cards. The second way is what we call our bank pass. So basically that would be a digital version of this where people would put the cards in order and then it would give them a report about themselves. I would receive a report about exactly how to speak to them. Okay. And I do this with anybody I have a meeting with, anybody I interact with. They have to crack their code before I speak to them. So I know that when we have our conversation, it's going to be in the codes that are important to them, the values. And we're going to talk about the values that are important to them and bring that into the context of the conversation. Because they're going to be like, oh my God, you just so know me, right? And actually, I don't, but I know the values that are important to you. And those things are the things that we want to be discussing, right? Because why do you want to have a conversation that's uncomfortable, doesn't make sense, and you're not relating to the person? Do you know that 66% of people in the sales force, the customer people, 66% of customers are turned off by your presentation? Not yours, but in general. That's like 2/3 of the people that you meet for sales, right? Like, what if you could bring that number down to way less, right? So 66% of people are turned off by your presentation. Using this, What if you could speak to the presentation that's going to resonate with them 100% of the time? Get the yes 100% of the time. Nobody's perfect, but I'm telling you, my business has shot up since using this. Personality intelligence is key to the 6 intelligence program. It's what you have to get good at first, and it takes time. You have to practice, okay? The third way that we code people is called speed coding. No cards, no link, and you just ask key questions. Okay, and this takes a little bit longer to learn, but I'll tell you, it really steps up your mastery. Okay, so maybe I'm going to ask someone like what kind of car they drive, what kind of watch they wear. Do they do their own taxes? Do they like processes? Do they have a system when they go on vacation? Where do they vacation? So all these key questions will give me answers into their personality type and the values that are important to them. And so then we can take the conversation from there, because we all have small talk at the beginning of a conversation. So why not use it to speed code them, right? It's just normal conversation, but you're actually now know what the cues are that are going to make a difference when you speak to them and the values that are important. Okay. And the last way that we use Bank to crack people's codes or get to know what their values are is our Codebreaker AI. We actually have an artificial intelligence where you can take people's texts, their bios, their website, anything written, any script, and plug it into our AI. And it will read that. Our AI has empathy built into it. So it's super, super effective, right? And it's always learning. Okay, so what happens then is the AI will read it and bring you the code of the person that had written it. And then you're going to have the insight into speaking to them. This technology is cutting edge. It's absolutely new. And it's a huge part of our learning for personality intelligence. Once you start to do all of these things, your world will change. Okay, I'm telling you, it's going to happen, right? So you want to be working towards a level 10 in your personality intelligence, okay? So you want to make sure that you know all 4 codes, okay? And be sharing this on social media. So using these cards or, any of the ways I told you, any of the values, you can post social media things, do an experiment, right? So you could say, look, I'm just implementing a new system called blah, blah, blah. And I wondered what people thought of the process around it. Did it get the results that they wanted with very little risk? And see who responds. Because I bet you that's blueprint talk all the way. All your blueprints will respond. Or you could write a post, I've got this amazing opportunity. It's so exciting. I just made $1,000 in 5 days. If you guys want to know more about it, let me know. I'm happy to chat with you about it. There's no obligation. It's just really exciting. And I think that it could give you the income of your dreams. That is totally talking to an action, because it's all about them. It's all about the money, looking good, and the opportunity. See who responds, right? So, you would do this through all 4 codes. For the nurturer, I'd be like, look, I'm creating this group because I wanted to have more community around this conversation about blah. And I'd love to know what your opinions are, because I really feel like we could have a lot of growth in this group, create a community that's going to help others. And we can feel good about what we're doing because we're raising other people up. Okay. Whatever it is. Okay. Those are for the nurturers. Can you see how all of the values there are very different for personality intelligence? And the last one would be the knowledge. Okay, they're very cut and dry. They just want the facts. I tried out this innovative technology yesterday. I had great results. It's actually up my expertise in what I'm doing, and I really think it's a great way to learn and be more logical about the results that we get in whatever we're doing. Blah blah blah. Right? So I've just inserted so many of these keywords here into that conversation. See who responds. It's going to be your knowledges. Everybody has their own language in their own code. And so that's what you want to be working towards. Okay. So it's a really cool opportunity. That's a little bit about our personality intelligence. So my work for you this week is I want you to go out. First of all, figure out what your own code is. If you need help, contact me. I'll send you my link. You can crack your code. If you want the cards, I can get those to you too. And we could talk about that. But figure out what your own code is as per our conversation today, and start coding people. Start looking at them in the codes. right? And next week, we're going to start covering sales intelligence. When I took this course first, this was my weakest point. And once I took this sales intelligence, I noticed where all the holes were in my business that way. I was great at talking to people and getting them excited, but I didn't have the sales piece. And no matter what, if you want to call it influence, that's cool. But you know what? It's an important part of your business and your life. And the more we recognize that, the more we have stronger intelligence around that, the better you're going to see everything come together. Okay. And that's really what it's about, moving yourself as a person through these 6 intelligences. All right. That's it for this week. I look forward to seeing you next week. You were great today, and I look forward to hearing from you. Talk to you soon, and have a great day. Bye for now.
See, there we go. There is that mute button. Just my friend, right? Now I was looking at that commercial and I was like doing that Usha moment. I was like, I feel like I was kind of somewhere in that little like, ah, felt so good and pleasant. So thank you, Queen. She does the same thing. She makes you feel good, pleasant, and how to understand your IQ. Lift up that. That is so important. You know why? I'm going to say why it's so important, because you're probably saying, Barbara, you say that every week. Yeah, I say it every week because we have to deal with each other every day. I don't care if you're locked up in your house, in your apartment, wherever you're at, because of the pandemic. We're still taking precaution. Hopefully everybody is. That's just a quick tip. I hope that's going on, because I'm seeing some things that I'm not liking, but that's a whole down the road story, another story. But we have to communicate with each other. And the best way to help to communicate each other is if we understand who we are in each individual. I don't care what you do. You can be a task consultant in your house, just on your computer. You still have to communicate with another person. You still got to know who they are. So there's no really way of escaping that unless you're just on your own island. You just really like yourself. I mean, really your own island with nobody there. But then think about this. And I know you're going to laugh at this. You're on your own island. There's going to be animals. That's their personality. Still got to deal with personality because you don't want them killing you. Think about it. So everywhere you go, you have to understand personalities and how to communicate with others. And what better ways to learn from Queen Laura Armstrong? So come on every Wednesday. And she's going to be, and I'm so excited because after she's done with this series, she decided, I hope I'm not saying it, hope she didn't change her mind, but she decided she's going to be coming on. It's going to be switched to Thursdays because, as you know, in May, if you didn't know, you're knowing now, I'm going to 5 days a week with the Diamond Factory Experience Show with Barbara Beckley. So I'm just like, yay, yay, yay. And she is traveling with me. She's going to be on Thursdays, and she's going to be just continuing on what she's talking about because it's so important. Like I said, think about it. We talk to each other every day. I'm loving the cards. Get those cards. Those will remind you when you're talking to individuals and seeing what their code is. That's what we mean by breaking that, break that bank code, breaking the code, because now you're breaking the code into a better relationship with others, not just business, but personal. But anyway, I'm not going to take you. That's her platform. I'm like a cheerleader for it so much because I can talk about it too. I just really appreciate Laura so much. I love how we met. I love our relationship that we're doing now. And I just want you to please just support her because she is awesome, amazing, and she will help you, move on to the next level when it comes to personality and other things. She's a good leader. See, I can go, there's a list, but we'll get to that next week. But with that, I want to share something with you before we leave for Wednesday, but we will be back Friday. And I have this wonderful gift I received the other day for Mary Ellen. And it's the 366, it says, Daily Truth to Guide You. So this is the book that she gave me. It was for my birthday. It was one of my birthday presents. And one thing, every page has something to kind of give you some truth, something to think about, within your life, within other people's life. And as soon as I opened it this morning, I landed on a quote from Oprah. She had a quote because she had different quotes from different people and herself and the truth. And I landed right on Oprah. Hint, hint. That was a hint for me. So as Oprah says, live your most powerful life. And she has a big exclamation point after that. You can begin this process with the knowing that you are pure love. Pure love. Loving yourself means accepting yourself with all of your flaws and imperfections, just the way you are now. You cannot give love to someone else unless you first love and accept yourself. It is not possible. You create the life that mirrors your deeper beauty. You have amazing talents and gifts that only you can give to our world. Today, trust and be grateful for the beautiful miracle of you. Today, I'm saying it again, trust and be grateful for the beauty and miracle of you. And I love reading this because she this is confirmation that I've been always telling everybody about, that you are amazing individuals. You have those talents, you have those gifts, you have those genius in you. And you need to give it to the world, share it with the world, because they need you. You don't know who you will touch in a person's life to help them move forward and elevate them. So important. And you don't know who genius and gifts that somebody else has for you to elevate you in your life so you can move up and elevate. We have to come together in love. It's the only way that we're going to make it happen, is if we come together in love. I'm so sorry. That's what happens when you got two laptops and it's making noises. So we have to bring it together. It's all about love. But it first starts off by not just love, but loving yourself first. You have to love yourself first. Going back to, what Barry was talking about, and then even what Laura's talking about with relationship and understanding each other. All that takes time to understand who that individual is, who you are. But first you got to start here. You got to start right here. And that, going back around, as I always say, that's your PPD, your purpose, your passion, your drive. Your purpose, your passion, your drive. That is your foundation. That I say is your foundation to lift you up so you can remember, wait, I'm here for a purpose. Yes, I have talents and gifts and values. Yes, I'm passionate about it. Passionate. I love it. Every day I get up, I just think about I can do something else for the world. I can do something else for me. And then the drive, your stories, what you went through. Remind you every day of why you had to do your purpose and passion. It's a circle. It's a circle. The drive, I keep telling people, your drive is like that gas in that car that's empty. You need some gas. And your gas is when you think about the things that you went through, to say to yourself, I made it. I'm here. All through the struggles, all through the good and bad and ugly of life. I made it. And I can push forward because guess what? I owe that to myself because I love me, and I owe it to others that I can help push them forward, give them hope, give the connection to them. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And I'll be saying this until, like I said, God takes me home. That's what it's all about. So with that, I know I feel myself getting on that soapbox, but on the ending of the show. So with that, we will say that you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day today. And remember, we come back on Friday, and I have, oh my God, it's going to be powerful on Friday. You have to be here on Friday. Ched Brown is going to be in the house. He is the epitome, the ultimate expert of sales. If you want to know how to sell in your business or whatever, anything that you're trying to sell, whatever you're trying to sell, he has the formula. He has the formula. Ched Brown, he's going to be here on this platform. He's a very busy man, but we talked, I reached out, and he's the comeback guy. So he's going to be talking what's going to be happening in his world. He's having some conferences coming up. I'm included as a speaker in one of his conferences coming up, and I think it's June. Yeah, it's in June. But he's going to be talking all about that Friday, and he's going to be talking about how to sell. There's a way to sell. It's not the way you think it is. It's not like a car salesman sell. He's going to show you the goods and how to really get it done and then make that money afterwards with it. So come Friday, it's going to be awesome. Like I said, he is going to be in the building, and he just doesn't get on anybody's platform. So it's an honor and a privilege that he's coming this Friday just to be here for at least 30 minutes to talk about his secrets. So come be here. We start 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and Pacific Time, 6 o'clock. Wow, I got all three right. With that said, love you. See you on Friday. And remember, what did I say? You have a diamond factory in you, and that is your PPD, purpose, passion, and drive in your life. See you on Friday. Bye.